Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they keep believing their breakthrough lives in another place. Different city, different industry, different business, different life. That belief sounds harmless, even inspiring, but it quietly steals years. Because while you're chasing a future somewhere else, you stop developing what's already in your hands. Russell H. Conwell built a famous lecture around one central principle. People often walk away from their own opportunity because they don't recognize its value while it's still familiar. This isn't a message against ambition. It's a message against blind ambition, the kind that runs fast but runs in circles. Today we're breaking down acres of diamonds in a way that feels modern, practical, and personal. Not as a museum piece, as a mirror. Because the question is not, can you be wealthy? The deeper question is, can you stop ignoring the ground that could make you wealthy? Welcome to Audiobook Lib. If you want more audiobook breakdowns that enrich the mind, subscribe, share, and tell us which title to do next. Now let's begin with a story that has outlived generations because it exposes something human. Chapter 1. The Man Who Sold His Future. Conwell opens with an old narrative often told as the story of Ali Hafed, a man who owned a piece of land and lived a decent life. He wasn't starving, he wasn't desperate, he had stability. Then he heard about diamonds. Not the science of diamonds, the myth of diamonds. How rare they are, how expensive they are, how they can change your whole life. And in a single moment, something changed. His farm stopped feeling like a blessing. It started feeling like a prison. That is how the mind works when it becomes hypnotized by a distant reward. The present loses its dignity. Ali Hafed started dreaming about wealth out there. So he sold his land and traveled to search for diamonds. He searched for years. He burned his energy. He drained his hope. And then, in many versions of this story, he dies poor, having never found what he chased. Meanwhile, the person who bought his land discovered diamonds on that very property. So many that the land becomes described as acres of diamonds. This is not a story about geography. It's a story about perception. Ali Hafed wasn't defeated by poverty. He was defeated by a belief, my future cannot be here. And that belief still ruins people today, just wearing different clothing. Today it looks like this. Someone learns a new trend online. They look at their current path and call it small. They've been building a skill for 2 years. They're finally getting decent, but now they see a viral success story. Suddenly they say, I need to switch. So they restart, again and again. They're always beginning, never finishing. That is Ali Hafed with a smartphone. Here's the lesson Conwell is forcing you to face. Sometimes the reason you feel stuck is not because opportunity is absent. It's because your eyes are not trained to see it. A diamond isn't useful until someone recognizes it. To an untrained eye, it can look like a dull stone. That's why some people step over value daily. Not because they're foolish, because they're unfamiliar with what value looks like in raw form. So the first question is simple. What are you stepping over every day? Not what do you want. What are you consistently exposed to that you've stopped respecting? Chapter 2. The Addiction to Somewhere Else. There's a certain comfort in believing the answer is far away, because if your success is far away, you don't have to act today. Distance gives your fear a hiding place. You can say, one day when I move, one day when I find the perfect business, one day when I meet the right people. But here's what Conwell keeps pushing. Wealth is not usually discovered like buried treasure. It is developed like farmland, and development requires staying long enough to understand the environment. That's the part most people avoid. They want the reward without the relationship. Because relationship takes time. Time to learn what people truly need, what they repeatedly complain about, what they spend money on without thinking, what they want but can't easily get, what frustrates them every single week. Opportunity is often not a lightning strike. It's a pattern. Patterns are visible only to people who pay attention. This is why somewhere else is such a trap. It turns your life into a constant search, not a steady build. And when you're constantly searching, you're constantly shallow. You know a little about many things, but not enough about anything to become valuable. So Conwell's message becomes a discipline. Stop treating your life like a temporary camp. Treat it like a workshop.
Chapter 3. Diamonds don't look like diamonds at first. Most people imagine opportunity as something obvious. They think it will come with fireworks, a dramatic offer, a viral moment, a lucky connection, a sudden breakthrough. But Conwell's entire philosophy says the opposite. Opportunity often comes disguised as a boring problem, a messy inconvenience, an overlooked need, a service done badly by everyone. Here is a modern picture. Imagine a neighborhood where everyone complains about deliveries being late. People complain. People rage online.
Then they keep ordering anyway.
Most people stop at complaining. But one person says, "This is a gap." They build a small, reliable delivery operation. Not glamorous, not trending, but reliable. And reliability is rare. In time, they become the trusted name. Then they expand. That's an acre of diamonds. Or consider another scenario. A small business district where every shop owner struggles with social media marketing. They don't understand ads. They can't write copy. They don't know how to create consistent content. Most observers call it their problem. But a builder calls it my service. They create a simple package. Affordable, repeatable, clear. And suddenly, they're not chasing money. Money is chasing them. Because solving recurring problems creates recurring income. So here's a practical shift Conwell would approve of. Stop asking, what is trending? Start asking, what is consistently needed? Trends spike and vanish. Needs persist. Chapter 4. Why people miss their own diamonds. Let's talk about why people overlook nearby opportunity, even when it's obvious. 1. Familiarity creates disrespect. What you see every day starts to feel common. Common starts to feel worthless. That's psychological. You don't admire water until you're thirsty. You don't admire electricity until the power goes out. So you don't admire your environment, your skills, your network, because it's always there. 2. Comparison poisons satisfaction. You see someone else's highlight reel. Then you look at your behind the scenes. Suddenly your life feels inferior. Even if you're progressing, comparison doesn't just steal joy. It steals focus. 3. People crave dramatic stories. Acres of diamonds in my backyard sounds less exciting than I traveled the world and found treasure. But most wealth is quiet. It's repetitive. It's built on fundamentals. And because it's not dramatic, people dismiss it. 4. People want certainty. Digging where you stand requires patience without guarantees. Many people would rather chase a fantasy that feels exciting than build a reality that feels uncertain. Yet the irony is brutal. Fantasy is certain to disappoint. Reality built consistently becomes dependable. Chapter 5. Conwell's controversial claim about wealth. Conwell makes a point that has always been debated. He argues that people should not treat wealth as shameful and that becoming prosperous through honest work can be a good thing. Now this needs a mature interpretation. Because the world has seen greed. It has seen exploitation. It has seen fraud. So the correct conclusion is not, money is pure. The correct conclusion is, money is powerful. Power reveals character. If you are undisciplined, money magnifies your chaos. If you are principled, money magnifies your ability to build and contribute. One of the most damaging ideas people absorb is, if I become wealthy, I become bad. That belief produces two outcomes. Good people avoid building wealth. Then wealth systems get dominated by people with weaker morals. Conwell's underlying argument is closer to this. Earn honestly. Serve people. Build value. And allow prosperity to increase your capacity to do good. This is why the Acres of Diamonds message matters. Because it tells ordinary people, you do not need to be born into privilege to create prosperity. You need to become useful where you are. Usefulness is a skill. It can be learned. Chapter 6. The real digging. Conwell's metaphor is dig where you stand. So what does digging look like today? It looks like building a personal system. Digging means inventorying what you already have, not your dreams. Your assets, skills you've practiced, relationships you've earned, local knowledge, access you take for granted, cultural understanding, language ability, reputation. Many people call themselves broke while sitting on assets they've never structured. Digging means learning your environment deeply, not complaining about it, studying it. Who lives here? What do they buy repeatedly? What do they struggle with? What do they fear wasting time on? What do they trust? What do they distrust? Markets are not built on what you like. Markets are built on what people need. Digging means creating an offer. An offer is simply, I solve this problem for these people in this way. Many people are talented but unclear. And unclear people do not get paid consistently. Digging means repetition. Deliver the service again. Improve it. Make it cleaner. Make it faster. Make it easier. This is where wealth actually grows. In the boring refinement phase. Chapter 7. Modern stories that prove the principle. Let's modernize Conwell's message with scenarios that feel real. Story 1. The overlooked skill. A person works in an office for years. They think, this job is small. But in that job, they learn something powerful. They become good at simplifying processes. They learn how to organize operations. They learn how to communicate clearly. Then they realize, small businesses in their city are disorganized. Owners are drowning. Invoices are messy. Staff is confused. Customers are frustrated. They start offering operational cleanup services. Not glamorous, but necessary. Soon, they are booked. That was an acre of diamonds. Story 2. The local market nobody respects. A person grows up in a community where everyone says, there is no money here. But money is not always visible as luxury cars. Sometimes it shows up as consistent spending on essentials. Food, repairs, education, convenience. This person identifies one consistent need, affordable, reliable home services. They build a team. They build trust. They show up on time. They communicate well. People pay for reliability. Over time, they expand. Not because they escaped, because they built. Story 3. The creator economy trap. A person starts content creation. They spend months copying what's trending. But they don't grow. Then they do one simple shift. They focus on a niche they already understand deeply. They serve a specific audience. They create consistent value. Their content becomes useful, not noisy. They grow. Their diamond wasn't the trend. It was their knowledge refined. Chapter 8. The 3 thieves that destroy acres of diamonds. If Conwell were speaking today, he'd warn you about 3 thieves.
Thief 1. Contempt for the familiar.
You dismiss your own environment. You say, it's too common. It's too small. It's not big enough. But value is not determined by glamour. Value is determined by need. Thief 2. Constant restarting. Restarting feels productive, but it's often avoidance. Many people quit right before the compounding phase. The early stage always feels slow. The later stage rewards those who stayed. Thief 3. Performing success. Instead of building it, people spend too early. They buy symbols, expensive lifestyle, flashy branding, appearances. But Conwell's message is rooted in practicality. Build the foundation first, then expand. A diamond is valuable because it is real, not because it looks expensive. Chapter 9. A practical framework. Find your diamonds. Here is a clear framework you're by. Step 1. List your raw materials. Write down skills, even if basic experiences, contacts, access, resources. Step 2. Identify recurring pain. Ask, what do people complain about repeatedly? Pain is a clue. Recurring pain is a business. Step 3. Choose one problem and one audience. Don't try to serve everyone. Clarity beats variety. Step 4. Build a simple offer. Keep it plain. I help X do Y so they can Z. Step 5. Deliver consistently and improve weekly. Consistency builds reputation. Reputation builds demand. Step 6. Reinvest and scale carefully. Scale comes after stability. The phrase acres of diamonds is not telling you that wealth is magically buried under every house. It's telling you something sharper. The ground beneath you contains opportunities you will not recognize until you stop chasing fantasies and start developing reality. Ali Hafed's tragedy wasn't that he had nothing. It was that he didn't know how to see what he had. So here is the final challenge Conwell leaves behind. Before you run to another place, be sure you are not abandoning your own diamonds. If this message hit you, don't treat it like a motivational moment. Treat it like a strategic correction. Because many people are not poor in potential. They are poor in attention. Your diamonds might look ordinary at first glance. A skill, a network, a local problem, a community need, an overlooked service. But ordinary problems solved consistently create extraordinary income. This has been Audiobook Lib. Subscribe for more timeless book breakdowns. Comment what you want next, and share this with someone who keeps believing their future is somewhere else. Sometimes the breakthrough isn't a new place. It's a new way of seeing the place you're already in.